Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, Father, and we give thanks, Father, for the ability to gather together to do things that help the folks that live in our communities. Lord, we pray, Father, for your wisdom, Father, to be imparted as we make these decisions tonight. We thank you, Lord, for those that are serving out there on the streets of Hendry County right now, law enforcement and EMS and the fire service, Lord. We pray you keep them safe. And Father, we pray a special prayer tonight for Commissioner Harris, Father, as he's in the hospital. We ask, Lord, that you would reveal to the doctors the things they need to know to heal him, Father. And we ask, Lord, that you allow him to recover and to come home to his family. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
This is a regular meeting of the Hendry County Board of County Commissioners being held Tuesday, November 12, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the City Commission Chambers in Clewiston, Florida. In attendance are Chairperson Emma Byrd, Vice Chair Mitchell Wills, Commissioner Raymond Iglesias, Commissioner Emery Howard, Commissioner Carson Turner, County Attorney Matt Rollerson, County Administrator Jennifer Davis, and Deputy Clerk Sharon Congleton.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Henry County Board County Commissioner meeting today. If you have any electronics, we ask that you turn them off, put them on vibrator, whatever you need to do at this time. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. First things up is bid on today.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Iglesias, second by Commissioner Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion stands.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve consent as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Wills. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. Next thing up is this is a public hearing, and I do have some cards from the public, but if anyone from the public wishes to speak, make sure you fill out a card, please, and we'll go according to it. But before we listen for them, we're gonna go to Matt at this time, the impact fees.
We've got A first.
It is?
We were wanting to do impact fees first.
No, that's what I have, and that's something,
Okay.
let me back it up.
That's all I see, too.
That's all I
I'll
see.
see.
Y'all don't have
Have A
the,
and B.
No,
A's all we have.
the Henry County Land Development Code
Yeah, I have A and B.
regulations, medical
don't have
marijuana
that.
treatment center.
so let's go to whatever you have
Okay.
first. We're
Okay.
gonna-
You might need to just update it on that first.
I'm sorry, Ms. Barrett.
No.
All right, well, they're working on that. For the record, Ryan Alexander, Director of Planning and Community Development. This is LDC amendment to amend the Land Development Code, Section 153, specifically 153-2.2, and Section 153-3.8, and Table 53-1. So previously, we had prohibition against medical marijuana treatment center dispensing facilities within Hendry County. When staff did a review in light of Amendment 3, which we know didn't pass, we found that the non-medical use of marijuana was not prohibited within Hendry County. We didn't have any prohibition on the books or any guidance for zoning districts for non-medical use. So this amendment will add a definition for non-medical use marijuana treatment facilities and prohibit it in all zoning districts.
Madam Chair.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wills, second by Commissioner Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. This is a public hearing. Anyone from the public wishes to speak at this time? Thank you so much. At this time, now we'll move on to impact fees ordinance adoption. Back.
For the record, Matt, I can do it. For the record, Ryan Alexander, Director of Planning and Community Development. So this is our impact fee ordinance that we've been working on for the past year or so now, and this is finally coming to the adoption hearing. So the impact fee discussion that we've been having, we adopted the study back in July, and now we're moving on to the actual ordinance that will put the impact fees into place. The board had already discussed adoption. We've gone through the transportation districts. We've gone through each of the categories in the past. And the board had tentatively agreed on a fee schedule previously that I put in the ordinance, but I brought that with us tonight so we can review it if we would like to. And taking any questions that you guys have or any clarification, I'm here for any answers that you guys have.
What's the net number there? Is it 6473?
6218 is what we had. So previously we decided on 35% for transportation, 100% for EMS, 45% for correctional, 100% for law enforcement, and 30% for schools. And so that came out to $6,212.
Any questions or comments?
Madam Chair, on schools, I want to talk a little bit about schools for a second. In doing some of the discussion with the Hendry County School District, some of the things that I thought were a fact when we set this fee schedule at 30% was that they had other funding sources that would make up the difference for what they may need. Finding out that that's not the case, and when LaBelle High School opens their new school and they make the transition for the LaBelle Middle School to become an elementary school, and LaBelle Middle School move to the current LaBelle High School, as soon as they do those things, they're going to be in need of additional wings to accommodate the student growth that's going to happen by that time. So with that in mind, I'm thinking that we need to relook at that 30% on schools, and probably somewhere in the neighborhood of the 50% mark.
Any comments?
That's a 2,200, that's almost a 2,250 bump.
You say the 50?
And let me go back and
This is just the calculated fees, and this is the percentages.
Yeah.
I can zoom out, but it's gonna make it.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
The page number, Commissioner. I had it and I'm trying to find the page
I had to
number.
go back and I lost it
200
this
pages
one.
here, so
It's on 197.
197?
She
Well-
just said,
Problem, I
she
had
said
79.
197.
I have a number right.
So,
You can go to your hashtag and put your number in.
Oh, okay.
For us young guys, that's a tic-tac-toe sign, just so you know.
And put your number in and go straight to it.
Oh, I'm a big hashtag guy. That's what I do. It's one of my pleasures.
You're trending.
Trending.
That's just a
so,
Seminole
Madam Chair, to
Union.
go back to finish that discussion, when they get to that point, they're gonna need room. They're gonna be in the position where they are either gonna be bringing in portables or constructing an actual physical brick and mortar. So, at the 30%, it doesn't give them that ability to make that growth addition.
So I need a comment.
And you're saying that,
to see-
I'm sorry. Ms.
Yeah,
Burr.
no, you
And
fine.
you're saying that's for the new high school?
When the new high school
When the growth
is
curve,
open
all the other facilities.
they make the moves for the two elementary schools to go down where the current middle school is. Current middle school comes up to the current LaBelle High School. When all of that takes place, the space that they wouldn't have to accommodate everybody is going to be pushed to its maximum.
I think another way of saying it, but I think you've already grasped it, Commissioner Iglesias, is that the way the laws are currently written, we're not allowed to, or excuse me, the school board is not allowed to be granted dollars to develop infrastructure that they know they're gonna need outside of what their scope is right now within that high school. And so Commissioner Burns is just saying, Commissioner Riley's saying, let's get in front of it a little bit. Commissioner Howard, let's get in front of it, right? Let's put the dollars in the kitty right now so that he can do that.
That is correct.
Yep.
So listen, a couple of months ago, we went from that $9,500 magic number till we got it down to $6,200. I'd like to see it lower than that. The last thing I want to see is it going, I'll settle at 62. I don't want to go out any higher. The biggest part of my district is Port LaBelle. What you got to remember, in addition to that impact fee, I've got a water connection fee of $4,018. I have, these owners are gonna have to go on septic tanks, which are gonna cost them 20 grand, used to cost them 10 grand a year and a half ago. We implement a $9,500 impact fee. Heck, I think if at a $6,200 impact fee, it's gonna happen. That man in that green shirt on the second row is gonna go to Glades County, build houses, is gonna take those houses off our ad valorem to sacrifice a one-time impact fee. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
That would be interesting to look at because their millage
I don't
is,
agree with
is
that.
tapped. I don't think they will.
No.
But
But there's no impact fee in Glades County for the time being. If Glades County already had an impact fee in place, it'd be a different conversation.
They gonna follow.
I disagree with they're gonna go across the road,
I do too.
for a myriad of reasons. But the crux of what I want to get at is, can we adjust any other numbers to keep the number where you want it, Commissioner Iglesias? Because I am in lockstep with thinking that we need to keep the Commissioner Harris used to beat us over the head with it all the time. No matter what you want to call it, it's a tax, right? And I love Steve Whitten to death, but him and Chief Deputy Nelson used to come in and laugh at us whenever we used to talk about the public safety MSBU or MSTU. And he'd say, y'all shouldn't, he didn't say y'all shouldn't implement that, but he'd say, I know what y'all are trying to do. Y'all trying to push it to where we're the ones that are gonna have to be the bad guys and tax people. And so I just think that, your number, I think, is spot on. I think that we are getting to a threshold. But do you wanna adjust anything else?
I mean, I'm looking at if we lowered transportation, because you know how I feel about us charging somebody for roads and they're gonna call me about a pothole and we can't fix that pothole, and then they're gonna say, but you charge me an impact fee. Well, the state legislature doesn't allow us to use impact fee money for potholes. And so that's gonna be a constant argument with my constituents in Montura and in Port LaBelle. And I think it's gonna go along with everybody on this diocese. So if we were to lower the transportation to 25%, you're looking at a net savings of $560. But you're trying to make up a gap of, we're trying to make up a gap of $2,300. I don't
Instead
know
of-
where else you could make it.
Instead of doing 50, do 40, take 5 off EMS and 5 off law. That's 95%. I mean, it won't be 50, but it'll be 40.
Well, and that's what, Madam Chair, that's what I was gonna say. I think there's some room we probably could go down, from that 50% mark,
Not
but,
fire and EMS.
No.
no.
You wanna cut
no,
law, you
no.
wanna cut correctional and transportation, I'm in the conversation. If
Yeah,
you wanna
not
cut
for
EMS and law,
no.
I'm a dead no on that.
No, I'm a dead no on EMS as well.
I agree, and plus, if you went to 50%, you're only saving $110, and Amy's equipment is so outdated that even if we stroked a check today, she can't get it for 2 more years. Is that right, Amy?
Well, I wanna have the capability of stroking that check. So EMS and law, like I said, I'm a dead no on that. You wanna work on transportation, drop it down to 30%, correctional, you wanna drop that down to 35%, make your gap out of that?
Take
We can talk.
transportation to 25%, that'll be in a $1,400 impact fee.
Yeah, I don't wanna cut everything too much. We still have an obligation to the constituents of Hendry County. So we're not gonna go down to 0. We're not doing that. Again, 30%, what's the gap you're trying to make, Commissioner? You wanna take away from school, you said, how much?
Well,
He
he's,
wanna add, he wanna make it 50.
So, okay, so if you take that down to 30 on that correctional, that gives you 15% right there. And if you take transportation down to 30, that gives you 20% right there. That gives you 20% that you can add back to the schools.
I don't,
Last time I checked math, that's still 20%, so we should be good.
Madam Chair, just a point of order, I'll make sure we take public comment before there's a vote.
Ms. Davis, those numbers work, correct?
Ryan, can you zoom in on that?
Please.
With schools at 50%,
40%.
40%, I'm sorry.
Any more comments from the board?
Yes, ma'am, just, in justification of this, we don't, we don't have a taxing authority. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't have a taxing authority for our EMS. We don't have a taxing authority for our law. We are the taxing authority. There is a separate taxing authority called the Henry County School Board for schools. So this is a supplemental number in of itself. So that's why, you know, I'm trying to beat myself up and say, how can you not fund education at 100% when you're funding law and EMS at 100%? You know, but I just want to make that matter of the record. That's the justification of how I'm arriving at that. If y'all like that number, I'm all about it. Is that number still too high for you, Commissioner Iglesias?
I see it being a 4-to-1. I'd still like to be at that 62, 6,500 number.
Well, then do some math, boss. Find it. And I think you'll see that we're in agreement with you. I don't think anybody's not agreeing with that. I just think it's, you
Where
know,
you gonna take it from?
yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. I don't see where I can change. So we're at 40 on law.
So go to 25% on correctional.
Just
I know
for
the sheriff wants a new jail, but.
just for discussion.
Yeah, just see what, so where's that take you to? 69. Okay, all right, and if you went to 25% on transportation, where's that take you to?
6714.
I'll take that all day long.
Well, is that a
You'll take
motion?
6714?
I'll take that.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion. I'll make a motion.
I second it.
Before we make the motion, this is a public hearing. I have Mr. Mike from the public, if you wish to come up to the podium and speak. Mr. Mike? Down here? Okay, yes?
Yes, I am Mike Fink.
Okay.
I'm gonna let my client.
Okay. Kevin, you can come now. Thank you.
Your name's Mike Fink?
Yes.
Davy Crockett. You remember Mike Fink, right? Yeah. All right.
I'll sing the song for you.
I know it as well. King of the River, yes, sir.
Real men.
I'll always be one.
For the record, Kevin Berth, resident in Glades County in Port LaBelle, one of the owners of Heartland Homes. Been in front of you guys several times on this topic, as you well know. I've been at every meeting and chatted with you, chatted with several of you one-on-one, some emails back and forth. We've talked about the market, we've talked about interest rates, we've talked about where we're at. Permits have declined. I'm sure you're well aware they have continued to decline. I know what I pull and I know what the rest of the builders are pulling. You know, I guess we're meeting the day of when we're gonna accept one number or not. The number's too high, point blank. I'm just gonna tell you. And whether you wanna stay with that number or not, you know, is it right for the market is where we've kept our conversations thus far. At this point, you know, the underlying ability to defend whether this can be passed or not passed with the data is essentially the issue at hand. And you're not going to hit a nexus rule. 70% of your growth is coming Port LaBelle. And if that's where your growth continues, which it will for the next 2 to 5 years, how are you going to meet a nexus rule? You guys decide. There's data inconsistencies all over. Obviously, we did the 119 request. There's data inconsistencies from the number of single-family homes to student populations to you name it. There's one thing on this report, one thing on that report. Matter of fact, there was even an email that said, does this data match what was in the study given to Banesh? An email coming from you guys that came out in our request. So even people within aren't quite sure what's what. So between data inconsistencies, you now are at 2-year-old data. I would certainly recommend you guys take one more pause and read the Santa Clara case. And it will tell you how they made a final decision as to whether the county will win or lose, and that county lost. And it was on nexus and the age of their data predominantly. So I won't say I'm against it. I know it's needed. I know we need to grow, and that money's got to come from somewhere. But I think there's a balance point to get from now to the next 2 years. We do have developments coming, right? You know where they are? They're all on the coastline. They're not the coastline, but the county line. Not all, but a bunch of them are. A bunch of them are, right? Because all those national builders want to be close to all those amenities, right? Maybe it's jurisdictional, right? The other piece in Santa Rosa was north versus south. spend some time. I would say pause one more time. Pass it in December. I know you're after getting it done, but, you know, there is a reasonableness factor as to whether it's the right number is one piece. And if you guys think you have the wherewithal behind the data to make it substantiate, and you can pass Nexus and you can pass data, their data was, I think, less than 9 months old, and the judge said it was old. So, you know, again, I'm not saying it's not warranted. I'm not saying the growth isn't coming. It's certainly out there in the future. I still think there's a pause for a short period of time before the growth gets to come back around. And if you look at where your growth was, 70% of your growth over the last 24 years came in Port LaBelle. 1,700 permits versus 2,400 or so overall in the entire county. And that's where it will be again. Those lots are ready to go. So I certainly don't want to see the growth stop, which is just going to take the ad valorems back down, right? Ad valorems have gone up across the entire county, right? There's 2 school taxes out there. There's a lot of things that are already out there. 1/2-cent sales tax is already out there, right? All of that stuff is in, you know, has it been considered? Is it not? At the end of the day, you guys have to be able to defend that the study is correct, that it's not too old, and it's still warranted for us to make a decision on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chuck?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chuck Zwerk for the record, CHL Country Homes and Land. To Kevin's point, don't want to reiterate, don't want to take too much time. Most of you have heard at length, or we've attempted to be heard at length. We've been limited to a couple public hearings of 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. 10,000 vacant lots, even at $7,000 proposed per lot, it's a $70 million tax. That seems like a very big tax to Mr. Commissioner Turner's point, and the late Mr. Harris, or retired Mr. Harris from the commission. A tax is a tax. The bulk of your study is predicated on the 2 years that were COVID, where interest rates were about 3%. Typical house of $250,000 pre this inflation spike was maybe $1,900 PITI. Today, that same house is $300K at cost. We have an abundance on the market. We have builders going into bankruptcy. D.R. Horton, for example, that came in and built 350 houses. They're not building any new houses. We have products still on the market trying to sell. Heartland has 150 houses. So defend or not defend, I don't know if that's a correct conversation. I think it comes down to affordability factor. I think us being the 10th poorest county out of 67 in Hendry County, with median income of less than $40,000 head of household, at the end of the day, they just don't qualify. So pile it on, add as much tax as you want to. Whether they can afford it or not afford it is the real issue. Permits have dropped 60 or 70% without the impact fee even being applied. At the end of the day, the residual value that you get on a $300,000 house at nearly $7,000 a year pre-homestead is considerably more than, say, even Lee County, which is $3,900. So I'm here today to ask you to take a pause. We just had a new election. There's a lot of uncertainty about immigration. There might be a lot of students coming out of the schools over the next 3 or 4 months, because whether they're registered or not, you have people coming over from Glades 102. You have not demonstrated or shown a growth in your schools in the last 20 years. We brought that up in about 3 meetings ago. That's yet to be addressed. So even building a high school, when you currently have 1,400 and some students to 1,500 over 10-year forecast, that's 70 students over 10 years. So to Kevin's point, I think to take a pause for 2 or 3 months, refresh your data and get the data out. That was an anomaly of 3% interest rates, which we'll probably never see again in our lifetime, is prudent. What's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months if you were to pump the brakes and re-examine the data? Nobody wants to fight here and go away angry. We want to unite, as the country would say. We want everybody to win. We want the county to be able to grow the infrastructure. But I think closing with Port LaBelle, that's 14,000 lots that were platted 50 years ago. 50 years forward, you've built less than 4,000 houses. That's 30%. Where is that crazy growth? So you're talking with 10,000 lots left, imposing a potentially a $70 million tax on people that can't afford PITI or qualify for homes now. So to that point, Mr. Commissioner Iglesias made a great point. Transportation, for example, we have $50 million of roads in Port LaBelle alone to repair. We don't have the funds to do that. The CDD charges us $1,000 to $1,200 assessment per house to do that. So to put a transportation fee of any fee that's not going to be used Nexus or used for Port LaBelle lots seems a bit unjust. So in closing, I got the 1 minute warning again. I would ask that you guys reconsider. We really want to make this work. This is the wrong time to implement a fee. There's too much product on the market, and you have a sharp decline of permits already. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did you want to speak? Thank you so much.
Awful lot of communication with you and have,
State your name for the record.
Mike Fink, attorney for Heartland Homes of Florida. They've spoken to you for many months now and I think have basically disclosed a lot of the issues with the data appending the impact fee ordinance. And the question really is, and I'm convinced, and I think if each of you have read and considered and looked at the pleadings in the case, the Santa Rosa County case impact fee that was stricken and a judge granted a temporary injunction, you'd understand essentially the recipe of how we would go about if my clients decide, if you were to pass it and my clients decide to fight it, we would be arguing that this is a unconstitutional tax rather than a valid impact fee, making the same points that Kevin Berth has set forth. Those are all made in the Santa Rosa case, particularly, well, the issues with regard to the stale data. There are mistakes that were set forth in that case. The testimony, if you look closely, you'd see you would be able to envision how this would go if litigation were to ensue in terms of the testimony of the superintendent, the testimony of the folks that compiled and prepared the report. And the expert in that case was pretty clear. And the judge in that case said, you've got to use the newest available data. And that's not the case here. But I think that from a fundamental standpoint of fairness, too, that my clients have stressed that because they want to be team players. They are team players. Obviously, my clients have a lot invested in this county and want to work with each of you and have a good relationship. And I think the issue from my standpoint is merely one of I don't think that the county, if pressed, would be able to meet its burden under Chapter 163 Florida statutes, and that court would likely find that it was an unconstitutional tax rather than a valid impact fee, respectfully. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, this is a public meeting. Anyone from the public wishes to speak at this time? Thank you so much. Would you reiterate the motion, please?
I'll make a motion to adopt the impact fee study.
I still second it.
Motion by Commissioner
Not
Iglesias,
the-
second by
Not
Commissioner.
the study, Commissioner. The
Yeah.
study's been
Sorry,
adoption of the ordinance.
The order.
adopting the ordinance, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Madam Chair,
At the change of the rate.
Commissioner Iglesias, at the change that we agreed to, taking it down to 25% for transportation, 100% for EMS, 25% for correctional, 100% for law, 40% for school, and the grand total, when we walked in here tonight, was gonna be 6218, and now we're at 6714.
Correct.
Tally ho.
Motion by Commissioner Iglesias, second by Commissioner Wills. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. Thank you so much. At this time, we're gonna move forward with the staff report.
Madam Chair, Matt Rollerson, County Attorney for the record. I'm pleased to announce to the board that we had a successful adjudication of our first code enforcement lien foreclosure. I'm glad we could present this. We could present this
Oh, you're right.
while Commissioner Turner.
This wasn't my goal. Code compliance was my goal, but I'll take it.
So the property in question went to sale, and all of the liens are gonna be paid as well as our costs and fees for that. So there's 2 more pending cases that are getting ready for judgment. We have about 10 we're reviewing right now.
I don't know what universe we're in right now.
Well, we know your purpose was for them to give compliance and, you know, you do
Well,
have
this-
bad players, so.
This is, well, the end result is gonna be successful, because what's gonna happen is, I mean, these properties are going back on the market. They're purchased by investors, they're gonna be resold. The people are gonna be paying, this property in question is in Montura, so the new buyer is gonna pay more money than the old buyer paid, and they're more likely to be compliant, and that's the purpose. We don't wanna do this, we want compliance, but sometimes this is the only way to achieve it.
I agree.
Thank you. Madam Chair, with your permission, we can move to the
Airport.
second
ahead.
item. No, the Julian Groves MSTBU. And what I presented to the board is, we've got a request to create a municipal service taxing and benefit unit, for
The gist is you just want another MSTU.
it's a combined, MS, DTU.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
benefit unit and a taxing unit. And the relationship between those two is one is a fee-based and one is millage-based. And we just want the flexibility. This isn't implementing, this is directing us to advertise for those hearings to establish that. And
You just need
have-
direction, you don't need a motion.
no, we need a motion.
Madam
to-
Chair, I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Wills. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands.
And Madam Chair, that third item under my reports is the consideration of the board to take an interim step in the eventual, what we hope to be the eventual sale of Everglades Airport to AIA. There's been a bit of a chicken or egg issue regarding getting investors and getting a attractive benefit cost analysis from FAA. This is a way to facilitate that by bringing sort of an interim step in that direction to bring in cargo that can facilitate on our existing facility and continue working with the FAA to get that eventual cost benefit analysis and hopefully approval of some runway extensions. And I provided to you sort of an overview of what that is. We haven't finalized the lease structure, working on that. We're pretty close to being done with that. So we're asking the board to authorize the execution of that document once the final lease has been approved by the parties.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve option 1 and approve and authorize the execution of the lease subject to review and approval of the county attorney.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. Thank you so much. At this time, I have the privilege of calling up, I want to call him a friend, but I have to be careful when I say that in the public. We're going to call up Mike Swinner. He's going to do a presentation for me today. And we're going to ask Commissioner I'm sorry, I couldn't call you Turner. If you would just stand,
So
Casey.
random.
I know, right? I get to do that.
Thank you for the opportunity, and for the record, Mike Swindle, Superintendent of Hendry County Schools, and also for the record, I'm still a recovering county commissioner. Mr. Turner, someone will be reaching out to you within the week about your new membership there, and what the support group needed to get you through this difficult time in your life. So I was asked to read a proclamation, and so,
Mr. Swindle,
yes, sir.
I was hoping that my hair might grow back.
It's not, sorry, it's not. But it's permanent. It's a permanent affliction that comes along with sitting on the dais, unfortunately. So sorry about that. Not gonna happen. Mine's either turning gray or loose because of, you know. So, a Florida Senator's Proclamation, a tribute recognizing Carson Turner, Commissioner of Hendry County, whereas Commissioner Carson Turner was first elected to the Board of County Commissioners in 2008 and re-elected subsequently. And whereas Commissioner Turner, in addition to his work as commissioner, has also strived to support the youth of Hendry County through his charity, Hendry County Exceptional Equestrians, and his work with the Early Learning Coalition of Southwest Florida and the Hendry County Educational Improvement Task Force. And whereas Commissioner Carson Turner has also made a significant impact on the state through his service as the president of the Florida Association of Counties and his advocacy as a member of the County Coalition for Responsible Management of Lake Okeechobee. And whereas Commissioner Carson Turner has dutifully served the citizens of Hendry County for 16 years. Now, therefore, I'm reading on behalf of Kathleen C. Pasadomo, President of the Senate of the State of Florida, do hereby proclaim that on November 12th, 2024, Commissioner Carson Turner, in celebration of his faithful service, be recognized for his many contributions to the tireless dedication to Hendry County. Signed, Kathleen Pasadomo.
She's got more hair than you.
Yeah, exactly.
Get here, Mike. Get in there. Come on now.
Come on.
That's why we asked
You want to get your old seat? You want to get your old seat?
It'll help you in your reelection bid.
Hold on. I don't want to feel short, so I'm going to stand up.
Yeah, get up there.
Appreciate y'all. Goodbye there, brother.
At this time, we're gonna go district by district.
Well, I got a laundry list of stuff, but so many of you don't know this, but back in 09, 08, 09, I think, I was going to run for county commission because that guy that sits in that chair, spent a lot of time with him, and I saw the great work that he was doing, and I wanted to be part of that. Spending a year and a half, 2 years going to meetings, trying to get prepped to, I'm a workaholic, just so you guys know, to see how I could balance my work life with county life. And there was a component that was 2 kids. And so I took that and realized I needed to wait a little longer. Here I am. I decided to run back in 2020. I sat here alongside of you guys, and nothing against you guys, but I sat once on the Planning and Zoning Board for the City Commission, and I remember Lowell Hughes. Man, I'd go to a meeting, and I'd be prepped. I'd go by, I'd review everything, and I'd walk out of a meeting and go, damn, he stumped me again. Well, I have that same problem every time I'm in a meeting with you because I come here where I think I'm prepared, and you one-up me. And I thank you for that because you challenge us to become better commissioners. I think everybody on this diocese can agree to that. Thank you for what you've done to Hendry County, and thank you for what you've done to help make me a better person and a better commissioner. Thank you.
You did a good job of sharing that, Commissioner Glacius. I am the short timer on this board, and I'll tell you that every time that I've sat up here and I've listened to the words of Commissioner Turner, I have learned so much every time I hear him talk. I am thankful for the service he's done for Hendry County for 16 years. And I can tell you, brother, I'm going to certainly miss you. But thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Commission?
I too have learned a lot from you, Commissioner. I worked for you as a county employee, went before you several times, and the rest of the board. And when I first came on the board, I thought I can learn from this guy. I know you was a Seminoles fan and all that, and I don't hold that against you.
Any other Seminole fans here?
Yeah, well, there's a few, and I don't hold that against them either. But Commissioner Turner, it's been an honor and a privilege to sit here with you. I remember when I first went to the first meeting of FACT, and someone asked, what county are you with? And I said, Hendry County. And they got this big smile on their face and said, Carson Turner. I'm like, yes, Carson Turner. So fast forward a few years, my first trip to Tallahassee. This is the Hendry County Commissioners. Where's Carson Turner? He's coming. So it's been an honor, sir, to sit next to you, and I have learned a lot from you over the years. And like I said, next year I'll be making phone calls to you when LaBelle's taking care of Clewiston. And I'll call you when Miami's taking care of Florida State, and hopefully I'll be able to talk to you more than that. But it's been an honor and a privilege, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think my story is a little bit different. So I had Carson in school. I don't care about my age. So I had Carson in school, and he wasn't a bad kid. He was really easy to work with, but he did some things that other people wouldn't do. I'm just gonna leave it right there. So my first trip to Tallahassee, I'm in the elevator. I'm gonna tell it. I'm in the elevator, and these two bald-headed men is in the elevator initiating me by pushing the buttons in Tallahassee. And I wonder who did that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about. So, and I get to Tallahassee, and I get off the elevator, and we're mingling. We go to a FACT meeting, and they see Henry County. They don't ask me my name. They go, "Oh, you with Carson Turner." I never got recognized because he's very well known. He's not known because how he act. He's known for what he present. He's known for the things that he give, his character. And his character means a lot. So when you have someone representing you like that, they're not calling his name because he's Carson. They call his name because the impact that he have on people. So with working with Carson, even as having him as a student and working with him, the things that I had to learn from him from the board is just awesome. I might be older than Carson, but he taught me a lot of things. And if you just pay attention, his heart is in it, and he loved his community. So with that saying, Carson, I love you. I appreciate you, and thank you for everything that you bring to Henry County. You're gonna be well missed.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Well missed.
So y'all want me to say something? All right. So I will attempt to be brief, but like Commissioner Harris used to give me grief about all the time, I won't be. It's been amazing. I got elected the same night that President Barack Obama got elected. I remember challenging Miss Taylor to get her butt up there for the inauguration. The dumbest vote that I ever did, far and away, was after I pulled about 13 items from the consent agenda on my first meeting when we had our reorg. I voted against the chair. I voted against the chairwoman. Miss Taylor was going to be selected as the chair, and I voted against her. I guess it was a point of pride. It was actually a very ignorant move. It's still one of the biggest things that I regret as a commissioner because of just the lack of knowledge that I had on that move and how politically unsavvy it was. And I was years trying to recover from that. And it drove a wedge between Commissioner Taylor and I, and it was dumb. I look back on the relationship that she and I were able to build, and the fact that she forgave me and was able to work so hard for constituency base. And then, you know, just as you're saying, it's going to be hard for me to get replaced. Let me tell you what, Mike Atkins is going to knock it out of the park. And the reason why I know that is because of what you've done, Miss Bird. You know, I love the relationship that you and I have. It's always, and you know, from when I was in middle school and you were my teacher, and I used to aggravate you and Coach Frost and Coach Dotson to death, but you know, it was always in good fun. It was never anything that was, you know, being a bad kid per se. I just loved the heck out of school. The level of conviction that you all have and what you bring to the table in this job is second to nothing. I'm honored to work with you all. You've taught me a ton. You know, going back through what Commissioner Swindle, now Superintendent Swindle read, I have such pride in what we achieved as the Educational Task Force with Ms. Busen, Tuesday Tritt, Molly Gardner, and Antonio Perez being the people that I've really worked with hard in that and lockstep and trying to help our educational system. And I will tell you, education is the great equalizer on this planet. And I think, you know, other than who your life partner is and what your job is, I think your educational attainment is one of those things that's something you can always strive to achieve, and it's something that you can do. You know, it's a huge reason why I love track and field, Ms. Bird. I could go out there and how much sweat equity I poured into it is what I got as a return on investment, because the good Lord blessed me with some pretty decent genes athletically. I will tell you, it's such a nuance serving in Hendry County and being from Hooker's Point and being able to share growing up. And I share it. Melissa McKinley, you're here from Palm Beach. You've heard me say it so many times, whether we're in D.C. together or Tallahassee, I got muck between my toes. It's what brought me home. And I took a non-traditional route to achieve my degree, and then I coached college ball for a few years. But I'm so thankful to be back home. The last few years have been trying professionally because our company has experienced some growth, and so I've had to be out of the saddle a little bit here. But it's been nice. It's been such an amazing experience. That woman back there, Molly Gardner, the Soto family is synonymous with the Turner family. What my dad has achieved, I think if you look back through the people that were instrumental in his life and what Quality Electric has allowed me to experience on a day-to-day basis professionally, the Soto family was just as essential in that as the Turner success was. And I never thought lightly of my relationship with Molly. It'll make y'all feel weird. I've cried like 6 times in my life, maybe a few more. One of them was when Terry made me so angry at the Tuskegee Airmen thing, because he got onto me because I was being mean to Molly. And I went to Molly's office at First Bank, and because I was worried that Molly thought I might be mad at her, and I actually cried, and I felt weird about it. And I was like, Molly, I don't cry. I don't know where this is coming from. I need therapy, I guess. But it's just the level of love that I have for Molly Gardner, and how many times I was able to go and sit with Molly and visit with her about something that I was convicted to vote on in these chambers or over in LaBelle. And that leads me right into the relationships that I've been able to form in LaBelle. You know, I'll never forget sitting with Grandma when I was 2 years prior to being elected. I started running essentially, and I don't remember what event it was that I attended in LaBelle, but I came back and I said, Grandma, them folks from LaBelle don't like people from Clewiston. And she said, no, you didn't know that? And I said, man, this is crazy. And she said, yeah, you've got to work through that. And then I remember walking, like 3 days later, I walked into Lucretia Strickland's office, and Cretia said, sit down here, boy. And she said, listen, I don't know if you're going to win. She said, but you got a problem you need to fix. And I said, what's that? She said, these people over here in LaBelle, they're concerned about you. And I said, why? She said, your mama don't like you. She was talking about my mama Cricket. Straight up told me, she said, the rumor is Cricket don't like you, and if your mama don't like you, they don't nobody like you. So you need to go back to Hooker's Point and fix that, and then you can think about running for county commissioner. And I said, yes, ma'am, Miss Cretia. She said, Cretia don't lie, boy. Take that to the bank. And I walked out and went and had a family meeting with Grandma and Mama, and we got everything reconciled so that Cricket would endorse me internally. And I was able to win. So it's been a heck of a ride. I've loved it. The opportunities that have been afforded to me because of this seat and the relationships that I've built. I look at the mayor of Pioneer, Mr. Bosley, and his wife. I didn't know them from Adam's House Cat before I was a commissioner. And now I don't see them and not say I love you, whenever I end the conversation. And he may be chewing me a new one because his sign ain't up on the side of his thing, but I still say I love you, Mr. Bosley, talk to you later, And it's like that with so many people. And just blessed beyond measure. So thankful. I will ask y'all, Grandma was my spiritual leader. She bathed me in prayer all the time. I'm gonna ask you to continue to do that as I move forward in different outlets. But y'all know I'm a phone call away. And I look forward to being able to talk to y'all now. I'm really gonna enjoy that. Raymond and you and I were tight. And when I became a commissioner, because of the weirdness and some of the shots that are thrown across your bow from time to time, you just kind of put a little arm's length up there between that. And I'm excited now to re-engage with you and be able to love on you more than what I have done in the last few years. And y'all ain't gonna miss a step. You're gonna keep after it. So Let's get after it. Thank y'all. I think the only thing more weird than learning to talk about yourself is having other people talk about you in a positive manner. I like it better whenever y'all say weird things. So that's it in a nutshell. I don't have any other stories. Ms. Davis, keep running it like it's your personal business. You're incredible with the job that you do. Mr. Rollerson, killing it. I could go down the road. Y'all, Shane, they ain't no better. So thank y'all for what you've done. And I really have enjoyed serving with you all. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Love you.
Thank you. Commissioner Turner, with that being said, we have a video for you.
Oh, Lord.
More like bloopers.
I hope the turkey trot ain't on there.
Being able to express gratitude to Commissioner Carson Turner for his years of service, not only to his community in Hendry, but to all of Florida's counties. It goes without saying that Commissioner Turner is a true force of nature, and the association is thankful to have been the beneficiary of all that energy. Commissioner Turner graduated from the association's formal certification programs, exhibiting dedication to learning more and gaining more skill for the challenges of community decision-making. He served on many of FACT's policy committees through the years, helping to shape the legislative agendas for all of Florida's counties, and recognizing that the counties have more in common with each other than differences between them. Commissioner Turner has brought all that energy, and we know he has to harness that every day to the association, and was recognized by his peers as someone who could make a difference. And so they elected him to be an officer of the organization, with him ultimately serving as president. There is no greater testament to his skill and drive than other elected officials recognizing these gifts and voting for him. On a personal note, one of my favorite days ever on the job here is one of the days I came down to Hendry, and Commissioner Turner loaded me up in his truck and gave me a personal tour of his district. We talked about why he ran for office, and he showed off your county with pride and lots of storytelling. He has served as a great ambassador for small rural counties, for issues related to Lake Okeechobee, and for speaking up on behalf of those sometimes hidden from view in our communities. Commissioner Turner, you have brought much laughter and energy to this organization, but the thing we will miss the most is your willingness to pair that levity with challenging conversations, with leaning in to the difficult issues, and with having the courage to not walk away from the hard work of leading a statewide organization with as much diversity as Florida. You are authentic, wickedly hilarious, and persistent, and of course, wise. We will miss you, and we wish you only the best in your next adventure. We feel certain we will get to work with you again. Tell Fred we said hello. You might need to explain that story. Godspeed, friend.
Commissioner Turner, I present this to you from FACT. I'm gonna allow you to open it.
Oh, you gotta open it?
Yes, you have to open it.
Awesome.
Saw some cards on it.
So just appreciation to Commissioner Carson Turner in Henry County for outstanding service to FACT. And it's a picture of the old Capitol crescent moon. Pretty awesome. Thank y'all. Appreciate you.
Come on, you
Ms. Mayor. Commissioner Harris is gonna be mad they didn't do this for him. Thank y'all.
Thank you. I know it seems like we losing somebody, but I believe now we're gaining a friend because there's no sunshine law in front of us now.
No.
And we're able to have that conversation that you always wanted to have. I want you to know, once again, we do appreciate you. We thank you for the things that we learned from you, the impact that you made on Henry County. And they don't realize you don't miss the well till the well run dry. I pray that it don't run dry. I pray that it don't run dry. For that being said, thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Mayor.
there's nothing else to be said. Would you have anything to say, Jennifer?
I just want to say it's been a pleasure different role at the clerk's office, and we've been through the first meeting that you were talking about pulling 13 consent
Well, they
agenda
wouldn't stay with
items
me.
to him growing and ultimately being president of the Florida Association of Counties, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
You really did that?
Yes, ma'am. Well, Ms. Bird, I used to snap. Boy, I question everything.
That's
So-
why she calls us before every meeting to make sure we're not surprised.
Well, we thank you. Only problem that we have, just like Mike said, I can't do nothing about your hair. Get some weave. At this time.